Hello again. Today is Sunday, November the 17th, 2013. Forgive me, and it's about 3:30 my time. And I want to talk about two things today. One is having to do with the 2016 presidential election, and then the other is having to do with the 50th anniversary of the Kennedy assassination. I apologize for coming late with this video today, but due to inclement weather and unforeseen weather in my area, coming late with this video. But these things you have no control over. I'm thankful and grateful that my family and I were delivered and kept safe from all hurt, harm, and danger, seen and unseen, and known and unknown. And we fared quite well. Now all that's going on is just some wind and rain. So thankful for that. Thankful for the refreshing rain and the cleansing rain. But that's the reason why I was late today for this video. As I said, I want to talk about two things today. One is having to do with the 2016 presidential election, and in particular, some heavyweights, some number one contenders. One is having to do, of course, with Hillary Clinton, former Secretary of State and former United States Senator for the state of New York, and of course, former First Lady. And the other is having to do with the junior most, now senior most by default, United States Senator Elizabeth Warren, Democrat for the state of Massachusetts. Full disclosure, I am a fan of both ladies, but in particular, in my eyes and in my estimation, Elizabeth Warren can do no wrong. As a matter of fact, the only thing that the woman can do is right. And she's been doing right since day one. I'm rooting for her, huge fan, huge supporter. Helped to get her elected. Campaigned for her, worked for her senatorial campaign, did some phone banking, mailings, worked on some flyers and things like that for the campaign in order to get her over the hump. And thanks be to the God that I serve, she is now in the United States Senate and is working on your and my behalf. I have a great deal of respect for Mrs. Clinton from a standpoint of personal experience. Won't get into a whole lot of that. Suffices to say, there is close family ties and close relationship with the Clintons. Have a lot of respect for Bill and Hillary Clinton, and wish Mrs. Clinton well. Did not do any work for her as far as her senatorial campaign was concerned. Uh, didn't really do a whole lot during her Secretary of State tenure. Did do quite a bit for Mr. Clinton when he initially ran for the presidency of the United States. Was a junior Democrat, a young Democrat in the state of Kentucky, and although he did not get elected with the necessarily with the state of Kentucky's help, but we campaigned for him, worked for him, got out the vote for him here in Kentucky, and Kentucky was one and only one of the southern states rather that he won. Um, uh, but of the two, uh, Elizabeth Warren is my pick. Uh, there is something about this woman, I don't know what it is, but there is something that resonates with the people, particularly in the state of Massachusetts, in the state in which she serves as United States Senator for the United States Senate. there is something that resonates with the people of that state. And then there is something at large that resonates with the people across this country. Elizabeth Warren, for whatever reason, whatever shape, form, or fashion, gets it. And that frightens the powers that be. When you have the type of politician or political leader of the day that comes along once in a generation and says, through their words, through their deeds, and through their actions, I'm here to help you. I am genuinely here to do something, to work for you, to work on your behalf, and to roll up my sleeves and go to work for you. And you can feel like, while I'm in Washington, D.C., that I represent you. Really and truly, honest to God, no ifs, no ands, no buts, no maybes about it. I represent you. I have your best interest at heart. I hear you. When I go to Washington and I work on your behalf, I take your concerns with me and I work every single day to address them. And Elizabeth Warren does that and then some. And this, pardon the expression, pardon the pun, but this frightens the hell out of the powers that be. And these are, keep in mind, these are the same powers that be, for whatever reason. They had their own reasons, but for whatever reason, they worked to get her into power. They worked to establish her. But now, for whatever reason, they feel like, because maybe, just maybe, there might be a distinct possibility that she would be interested in running for the presidency of the United States. My God, the sky is falling. This is really and truly and honestly supposed to be one person and one person only time. Their moment, their raisin in the sun. And that's Hillary Rodham Clinton. No one else. No one else. Chris Christie is supposed to be the formidable faux pas, fax faux pas, whatever you want to call it, paper mache candidate for the Republican Party. But Hillary Clinton is supposed to easily and handily defeat this individual, leave him in the dust. Polling data galore since Election Day 2013 was unofficially concluded, has been for Hillary Clinton and Chris Christie to be the go-getters, and for Hillary Clinton to win it all in 2016. But along comes some whoop-de-doo, too cool for school, raisin in the sun article from the New Republic about the distinct and very real possibility of Elizabeth Warren running for the nomination, the Democrat Party nomination for the presidency of the United States of America. My God, she's betraying us. She's leaving us in the dust. This is supposed to be Hillary Clinton's time, no one else's. We campaign, we work for her, she's betraying us. Never mind the fact that it was politicos, inside baseball folks, whatever you want to call them, spouting these rumors, spouting these innuendos, and they didn't go to the source initially, which is Elizabeth Warren, which is what they were supposed to do in the first place, especially when writing an article like the New Republic wrote. They pretty much wrote a multi-page expose. If you go on there and you look and you see it's multiple pages of the real and distinct possibility of Elizabeth Warren running for the presidency of the United States. But because they did this, because the inside baseballers agreed to be interviewed by a roving reporter for the New Republic, it's Chicken Little, the sky is falling, there's no room in the political inn for this. Never mind the fact that she resonates and that she reaches across the political, social, and ecumenical spectrum a whole lot better than both Bill and Hillary Clinton ever could. Okay? Never mind that. This is supposed to be Hillary Clinton's time. But along comes a what-to-do Raisin in the Sun article, online piece, and the world is come to an end. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, of the court, of public opinion, they mock that which they do not understand, nor are desirous to understand. They mock it, and most especially they fear it. They greatly fear it, because they know deep down inside, in their heart of hearts, in their mind of minds, on their very best day, they could not clean Elizabeth Warren's glasses. They could not. But try as they may, try as they might, despite the dismissal and the mocking and the beratement and the bemoaning of this New Republic article, it's starting to catch steam. It's starting to catch fire. The people finally have somebody that they can really and truly look to and say, lead us. Not unlike that of one Barack H. Obama II. If you recall, in 2004, his speech at the Democrat National Convention, his first real and true moment on the world's stage, on the free world stage, it resonated. People responded, Obama, 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 yes we can, yes we can, yes we can. It resonated, and it steamrolled from there. And we have what we have as a result of that. The first African American president of the United States of America. And I have my great and good disagreements with President Obama. And we've talked at length, or rather, I've talked at length and you all have listened. We've talked at length about the disagreements that I have with the Obama administration. The Bradley Manning, Chelsea Manning, case being one of them. But the point being is that the powers that be are scared craftless. They're scared craftless. Watch this space very, very, very closely. Now, we are on the eve of the 50th anniversary of the assassination of John Fitzgerald Kennedy, our 34th president of these United States of America. Or excuse me, 33rd, I apologize. Lyndon Baines Johnson was the 34th. Ladies and gentlemen, since the dawn of time, and when I say time, I mean since the Dwight David Eisenhower administration, and when the official launching of the military-industrialist complex began under the Eisenhower administration, there has been the need, want, and the desire of the powers that be the real true powers that be for the United States of America. It's unfortunately not we the people. It's a shadowy bunch. We have a breads and circus representative government. Thanks be to one Dwight David Eisenhower, who teached and preached and railed and bemoaned against the military industrialist complex, all the while helping to create it, stoking and fanning the flames. Stop and think for a moment. Under the Eisenhower administration, you had created the CIA, NASA, the National Weather Service, and of course, the National Security Agency, or what would eventually become the National Security Agency. Under Dwight David Eisenhower, these things were created in order to spy, berate, bemoan, belittle, and destroy and destruct and deconstruct the lives, fortunes, and sacred honors of a mostly free world, so that they could somehow profit off of that. Because there is profit in destruction. Just ask Saudi Arabia and the Saudi royal family. They'll tell you all about profitability in destruction. They'll tell you all about it. They'll give you an at-length study on it. The point being, since Dwight David Eisenhower was President of the United States of America, there has been the need, want, and the desire to control the free peoples of this world. And the United States of America, land of the free, or what is supposed to be land of the free and home of the brave, takes the time out of its day to destroy freedom. Our government teaches and preaches about freedom all the while working to destroy it nearly every day. All around the world. And when I think about people like John Fitzgerald Kennedy and Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and Mahatma Gandhi, I think about people that really and truly ate, slept, and breathed love, joy, peace, and freedom. And that desired most for a people, not just a people here in the United States of America, but a people all around the world, to be free. To come, to go, to buy, to sell, and to trade with little to no and hindrance by the governments of this world. And because of that, because they teached and preached and walked and taught and ate and slept and breathed love, joy, peace, and freedom, they were killed. John Fitzgerald Kennedy was killed on November the 22nd, 1963. Some 50 years ago now, just a few days away. He was killed. Forgive me, he was killed because he ate, slept, and breathed love, joy, peace, and freedom. And these are the things that the God of my salvation, the Lord Jesus Christ of Nazareth, the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords, the God of all gods, ate, slept, taught, teached, and preached on a daily basis. And because of that, he too was killed. But thanks be to God. And on the third day he rose again, and he sits at the right hand of his Father in heaven. And he will return again someday very soon to receive the rest of the free world, those that know and love and understand and comprehend what he taught and preached and walked and ate and slept and breathed on this earth for 33 years of his life. To those that believe and receive and accept that, they will be received unto themselves. But getting back to my point, not unlike Elizabeth Warren, John Fitzgerald Kennedy got it. And because he got it, he was murdered in the streets like a dog. Couldn't have somebody come up to him face to face and just put one in the head and two in the chest. That wasn't good enough. We had to do it at a sniper's nest, supposedly, quote unquote, on the 6th floor of the Texas School Book Depository overlooking Dealey Plaza by this quote unquote loser, this lowlife, this scumsucker. That's the funny thing. The set to by the establishment is that Lee Harvey Oswald acted alone. No one else. He just wanted to get famous. He just wanted to make himself famous because he was a two-time loser. No good as a soldier, no good as a basic worker, no good as an individual. He contributed nothing and he took nothing away in this life. There was nothing about Lee Harvey Oswald that was of note. That's the contention. But yet somehow this two-time loser, this two-time low-life scum-sucking pig manages to defect to Russia, stay for 5 years, and then come back to the United States of America. How then, if he's a lowlife and a scum-sucking pig and a two-time loser, is he able to have the money to afford to go overseas, demand citizenship in a foreign nation, get it, stay for 5 years, and then come back to the United States of America and apply for citizenship here again in the United States of America to become officially once again a United States citizen, and work, of course, in some whoop-de-doo, raisin-in-the-sun jobs in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and then ultimately end up working for the Texas School Book Depository. Does anybody within their right frame of mind care to explain that? Today, this very day, on CBS News, and in fact, their Sunday program, Face the Nation, hosted by Bob Schieffer, who used to be, and I say used to be, a real blue, tried and true newsman, a newsman's newsman. Now, he is a tapioca sucking fruitcake of an old man who loves to suck on the teat of adulation. And I have never in all my life, in all my years of watching Sunday morning programming, and in particular on today's edition of Face the Nation, they have whoop-de-doo Raisin in the Sun expose. All the news programs have had all week long, all last week, and they'll have it all again this week. It's the 50th anniversary, big to-do, big set-to, fine, I get all that. Or the Kennedy assassination. Great, wonderful, expose, wonderful. But don't expect me to not call you on it. And I'm calling out CBS News, and I'm calling out Bob Schieffer and Face the Nation and Scott Pelley, who is now the head of CBS News, the flagship of CBS. Les Moonves's baby. Out of all of the people that have run or had anything to do with CBS television, Les Moonves put CBS on the map. And it's still there to this day. But Bob Schieffer had the temerity to sit down today with Lucy Baines Johnson, the son of the supposed late great president of the United States, daughter, forgive me, of the late great president of the United States of America, Lyndon Baines Johnson. And Lucy Baines Johnson, in her dutiful Dixiecrat old guard way, gave an Academy Award performance, and Bob Schieffer ate it up. How sad she was, how distraught she was, how overcome she was on that day 50 years ago. Oh God, I'm near tears. And Bob Schieffer sits there like a child on a mother's teat and laps it up. And then when she's done with her Academy Award performance, has the temerity to side-eye Bob Schieffer and in a "did I do okay" look on her face. He gives her a half smile and a head nod. Clearly and distinctly, a half smile and a head nod, as if to say, "You did great." Lucy Baines Johnson, as the daughter of a dutiful president of the United States, first daughter and only daughter, has carried on the mantra of the Lion Lyndon Baines Johnson administration. I don't care what you say, I don't care how you say. Lyndon Baines Johnson had everything in the world to gain from the death and the destruction of John Fitzgerald Kennedy. And he gained, and then some. Because he helped the military-industrial complex make money off of the war in Vietnam. A war, by the way, that John Kennedy was going to end in his second term in office. Because he had had enough of the French Laotians. And he had had enough of the CIA, of Dwight Eisenhower's CIA. And I get the fact that Dwight Eisenhower, he was supposed close confidant of President Kennedy and helped him do things and helped him get legislation passed and all that. But when it came to civil rights and voting rights and tax bills and things like that, Lyndon Baines Johnson and Dwight David Eisenhower were clearly out to lunch. They were out to lunch. John Kennedy came along at a time not unlike Ronald Wilson Reagan in this country's life, when this country needed someone, it needed leadership, it needed governance. The free world was in a proverbial cocked hat. And John Kennedy, despite the fact that he really had no business running for the presidency of the United States of America, should not have even been allowed to be a United States senator for the state of Massachusetts, because his health was adversely affected, because he broke his back in World War II and had chronic back problems every day for the rest of his life, took pain medicine, had doctors come in and regularly and early and often give him cortisone shots. give him cortisone shots in his back because he could not walk, he could not stand, he could not lay down, he could not sit up without some type of pain. One of the rules and one of the regulations for running for high office in the United States of America is that you must be mentally and physically fit, and you must be, of course, a United States citizen, and you must have a sound mind. You must. If you cannot have any of this or all of it, then you are not allowed to run for high office. Yet this man is able to run for high office. Don't know. Maybe his daddy bought and paid for it. I don't know. That's not really the point, but maybe it is. But they fixed it. Dwight Eisenhower, Lyndon Johnson, and the military-industrialist complex, and I might add, Herbert Hoover and the COINTELPRO division for the Federal Bureau of Investigation ultimately assassinated John Fitzgerald Kennedy on November the 22nd, 1963. That's who killed John Kennedy. Not the supposed two-time loser, the lone nut, the lone wolf, the guy that just wanted to make himself famous. Larry Sabato. My God, my God. Larry Sabato, for the last 4 days, has been hawking his books on Kennedy. This one particular book, and I forget the title of it right now, but it doesn't matter. But he's been hawking this book, going on all of the networks, all of the major talk shows, all of the major radio programs across the country, how important this is. And he contends that he's the only one that contends. Well, there's others, but he stands out. He contends that Lee Harvey Oswald, he was just a lone nut, a fruitcake, just a guy trying to make himself famous, a two-time loser, all that good stuff. And that's where I get my point. How does a two-time loser then go overseas and work his way back in the United States of America without some kind of help, if he's a two-time loser? I mean, if I'm a two-time loser, I'm not going to get any help because I'm a two-time loser. Okay? But yet, with one good eye and a straight face, and their hat in their hand and their tongue firmly in cheek, this is the contention. Lee Harvey Oswald, he just wanted to get himself famous. He just wanted to get his name on the map. He really didn't intend for all of the things that went down to go down, but it just snowballed from there. And John Kennedy just happened by the sixth floor window of the Texas School Book Depository when Uncle Lee Harvey Oswald was working that day. And Lee Harvey Oswald, he just happened to pack a deer rifle that day to work. And the window was wide open, so he saw his opportunity, so he put two and two together right quick and said, oh yeah, okay, fine, I'll kill the President of the United States of America because I'm a two-time loser and I want to get famous. The words yeah and right come to mind. Let's be honest with ourselves for a moment. Larry Sabato needs, wants, and desires to get into the latest cocktail parties in Washington, D.C. and in New York City. That's what he lives for. That's what his type desires. That's what they get their jollies out of. Lyndon Johnson profited off of the death of John Fitzgerald Kennedy in more ways than one. And I don't care what Lucy Baines Johnson says. Oh my God, Mom and Dad, they were so wonderful. They love the Kennedys so much. Oh, he's our president. He's our president. We have to get out there every day and do something. It's for crap, folks. It's for crap. Lucy Baines Johnson knows the score. She knows the deal. But like any other dutiful child of a former or current sitting president of the United States, oh, they're great. They're wonderful. They care about America. They love America. They love this country. They love the people. It's for crap. And Bob Schieffer signed off on it today. Bob Schieffer, okay, a once newsman's newsman, now a tapioca, hard-boiled egg sucking, mealy mouth old man that needs to just dry up and blow away. I would to God that he would just dry up and blow away. Is that when you profit off of the
forgive me, when you contend to and intend to profit off of the debts of those who would promote love, joy, and peace, not just in the United States of America, but around the world, you need to be hung. Or worse yet, stood up against the wall and shot. Okay? Anyone that would interfere with, would have the temerity to interfere with and be a part of and be privy to the interruption and the disruption of love, joy, and peace in this country needs to be got out of the way. And ultimately, Lyndon Baines Johnson and his administration, particularly what's left of it, they are reaping and have reaped what they've sown. They sowed discord, therefore they reaped discord. And I have zero sympathy for the family of Lyndon Baines Johnson. Zero sympathy. The man was a liar, a crook, a thief, and a murderer. And he should have been tried for treasonous acts. Acts of sedition and treason. But because he was firmly entrenched and ensconced as he was as a politico in Washington, D.C., and because he was the last of the old guard, the last of the Dixiecrats, a Dixiecrat's Dixiecrat, he was protected. He was propped up, he was isolated, insulated, protected by the Rothschilds, by the Rockefellers, by the military-industrialist complex. Because he said, if you'll give me the White House, I'll bring you the head of John Fitzgerald Kennedy. And he literally did on November the 22nd, 1963. And despite his best Academy Award performances and the that is all that I can do verbiage from his lips, he's still a liar, a cheat, a murderer, and a thief. And I don't care what Lucy Baines Johnson has to say. She is a dutiful Dixiecrat and a dutiful first daughter, but she's full of crap. And the people that would prop up and promote and ascribe to the fact, the lone nut theory that they want you to ascribe to and believe in, these people have no business in the day-to-day process of the free world. They should go to a corner somewhere, sit there, and be quiet. If you buy into this tripe, this rock gut, that Lee Harvey Oswald acted alone and he was just a two-time loser that just was out to make himself famous, and this was a last-minute thing. He just happened to bring a deer rifle to work that day, and the whoop-de-doo window was open because it was a hot day. And so he thought he would stick his rifle barrel out and his scope out the window and just take some pot shots at John Fitzgerald Kennedy and maybe wound him. I don't know. That's never really been that's never really been theorized. I think they wanted it to be, but because things had the snowball effect that they had, forgive me, they went with the fact that Lee Harvey Oswald, he just was a nut and he was just trying to make himself famous. And that's what he thought he would do that day. It just was a last minute thing, like Larry Sabato contends. Lee Harvey Oswald didn't even know the President of the United States was going to be in Dallas, Fort Worth that day. It was just a happenstance thing. That's what Larry Sabato contends in his book, and that's what he contends publicly out on the talk show circuit. It was happenstance. Don't you believe it, folks? Everything happens for a reason, and it involves money. And the more money that we can make, and the more fear that we can instill, the better off we are. And that's all I have to say about that. Thank you.